Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. It's International Charles Darwin Day. Tony, are you an example of survival of the fittest?
Tony Kornheiser, you betcha. You're looking at a specimen who curls between 8 and 10 pounds.
Wow.
Come on. Pretty good.
I remember when you got to the point of bragging about the 5-pound weights. You've doubled up. I'm impressed.
Yeah, and I'm getting older too. Maybe someday I'll get to like 15. I don't think so, but maybe. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, NBA All-Star Weekend gets thinner. Kansas State's coach rips his team, and Joey Porter goes after Big Ben. But we begin with today's events at the Winter Olympics. Chloe Kim got silver in her attempt at a third straight gold in the half pipe. Men's hockey teams from the United States and Canada each took the ice for the first time. Breezy Johnson crashed out of the Super G, but got engaged at the base of the run. Jordan Stoltz got to enjoy the gold he won yesterday in the 1,000-meter speed skating, and a Ukrainian skeleton racer was disqualified after refusing to remove a helmet that features the photos of fellow athletes and coaches who have died in the Russian invasion. Wilbon, which of today's stories most intrigues you?
Chloe Kim. I can start there. We can make this, my whole comment could be Chloe Kim. And I certainly became a little bit fascinated by her and Myles Garrett when I think she went to a game in Cleveland. And I'm like, if she can go to a game in Cleveland, he can go to a competition in Italy. And it seems about even and fair to me. But, Tony, that's sort of the People magazine version of what I'm most interested in. In terms of actual sport, it's the hockey. And I was there in Nagano when the NHL players returned to competition, and I've been obsessed by it ever since. This particular competition, the way it's played, the style of play, and, it's Canada, U.S., Sweden, and Finland. Like in the Four Nations, it's that. But Finland already lost to Slovakia, putting some intrigue in it. And while today's not the first day, it's like the breakout day. And you have reaction now. You have Austin Matthews, who along with Kachuk, probably the highest profile American player, saying, essentially agreeing that it's gold medal or bust. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. The United States hasn't won since the Miracle on Ice. That's a lot of pressure to put on a team that's not the favorite. Canada is the favorite, right? We couldn't possibly be the favorite. So I'm interested in the hockey and going to watch and consume as much of that as I can.
Yeah. You're lucky the quad god wasn't on today because I'd be talking about that. Sure. I did watch a lot of that thing that they call the half pipe. And whoever does the commentary, I don't know. I can't tell the difference. I can't tell the difference between what's good and what's not good. I really don't. Right. I don't know the sport. But when somebody screams out, it's a double switchback 1080 or it's a triple cork, I don't know what that means. So if you don't fall down, and many of them fall down, I think it's great if you don't fall down. I want to go back to the Ukrainian situation because I am confused and conflicted by it. I have great sympathy for what he is trying to do, for the message that he is trying to put out there. But free speech, I don't know if you want to open up that can. The NFL does not. The NFL fined a player last month for putting a political message on his eye black. And today, the IOC president was moved to tears as she tried to reach a compromise with the Ukrainian athlete. Finally, the offer was you can wear the helmet off the ice, but not during the competition.
Yeah.
And he rejected that, and I understood why. I'm going to talk for a while. I understood why he rejected that because these are his countrymen, and they are fallen. But what I also understand when the IOC says not during the competition, because you can get 50 helmets for 50 different causes that might enrage 50 different people. You have to decide, is this an athletic competition or is this a political convention? I think that's a hard one to maneuver. I did watch the women's cross-country skiing today, which is a grueling race. The American Jessie Diggins went out there with bruised ribs. She finished third. She got the bronze medal. She lay on the ground, writhing in pain, like almost screaming, rubbing at her rear. It's just the effort that goes into this with these athletes is something that should be marveled at. All of them.
Courage.
One of the Austrian women crosses the line and immediately throws up. You go, whoa. Well, anyway, all right, let's move to the upcoming All-Star Weekend. Cooper Flagg will miss the Rising Stars game because of a foot injury. The Bucks officially ruled out Giannis from the All-Star game. Luka Doncic will not play tonight because of a hamstring injury. Hopes to be able to make an appearance in Sunday's contest. Steph Curry out with an injury. Kevin Durant questioned how hard the Europeans would play in the All-Star game after being questioned about how hard the older American players would play in the All-Star game. Wilbon, is this game taking on a Pro Bowl-like direction?
Tony, maybe. But I think the one major difference, and it would take years before we figure out whether this is true or not, ultimately in the Pro Bowl, the players didn't want to go anymore. It wasn't just the fear of injury, and there was legitimately that. Players said, I don't even want to go to Hawaii anymore. I don't want to go. Now, the NBA All-Star, they have not gotten to that point yet. Don't know if they will. But we've gotten to a point, Tony, where the weekend was used to be a joyous thing. I used to get as much joy out of going to cover NBA All-Star Weekend as anything on the sports calendar, Super Bowl, NBA Finals, World Series, Final Four included. And Tony, now, I want to be as far away as I can. And my reaction is the reaction of a lot of players. I talked to 2 NBA personnel today, and they're like, I'm not going anywhere near that. And Tony, you know what? The culture moves. Things don't always trend in a certain direction. We've gotten to that point with the NBA All-Star Game, which the commissioners had a bunch of chances to fix and make a spectacular product, and for his own reasons, won't or hasn't. And so here we are.
Yeah, so I agree with a lot of that. It used to be very celebratory, and now it feels like a burden.
Yeah.
Players really don't want to play hard. They don't want to go through it. And the other part of that is that all it leads to is a lot of questions for the league and for the commissioner. And I'm going to use one of your words. This is what happened with the NFL and the Pro Bowl, which was, in your words, hocus pocus junk. It was nonsense. It was terrible. And so they dumped it. They dumped it, and I think they're better off for it. It may end up that the NBA has to do that as well. The NBA, the All-Star Game, it's a bad product. It's a bad product in every sport but baseball. It's great in baseball. It doesn't work anywhere else. And I understand it. I understand why they don't want to play. These are the greatest basketball players in the world. They have contracts. They don't want to get hurt. You can't just fix this by making it the United States against the world.
Maybe not.
Because there's no gold medal involved. It's an invented game. I just think it's a difficult sell at this point to the players, and everybody knows it's a difficult sell to the players, so it is to the public. I thought what Kevin Durant said was very interesting, where he said, what are you asking me? Why don't you go ask about the Europeans and how they do it? And he specified Doncic and Jokic, and he said they just lay on the ground and take shots. They don't care at all.
The video was amazing.
And the subtext of that was clear to me. The subtext was about race, and I think everybody understands it when they watch it. Last night in the NBA, to piggyback on what we said yesterday, last night in the NBA, Utah won a game. Jaren Jackson Jr., I believe, had 23 points in 22 minutes, and you wake up this morning to find out he's out for the rest of the year.
How about
he has a knee operation
I was stunned to hear
for the rest of the year. So what does that tell you? It says Utah, we don't want to win. We don't want to win.
Not till next year. Maybe next year. Maybe. No. We're going to revisit this again because you raised something with Kevin Durant I hadn't thought of, except I would say to Kevin Durant, let me pile on your doorstep all of the video of the old heads, as he calls them, all the American old heads not playing worth a damn either. And I got video of that. I got video of all of them not playing. Equal opportunity, but
nobody wants to play in it.
Raise a fascinating
Nobody wants
point,
to play in it. They don't.
And now to the harangue from Jerome Tang. The Kansas State coach let his team have it after losing by 29 at home to Cincinnati last night. Tony, this was
embarrassing. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. It means something to wear a K-State uniform. It means something to put on this purple, man. Everything this university is about and all that it's been about, why I love this place, man. They don't love this place, so they don't deserve to be here.
What did you make of the student section, the paper bags and the nets?
Yeah, I'd wear a paper bag too if I was them. Thanks a lot, fellas. God bless.
Whoa, Tony, isn't this too tough on a college team?
Well, let's review for a second. Let's go to the bomber quotes. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. They don't love this place, so they don't deserve to be here. Can I ask the relevant question? Who recruited these people? Didn't Tang recruit these people?
Not his first year.
Because he's been there. He's in his 4th season.
Yeah.
So he didn't inherit any of these people. So if mistakes are made, errors of judgment, they are his errors of judgment. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I was told he won 26 games in his first year and made the Elite 8. He may have inherited some players on that team, but the team he's got now, he clearly hates. Look, this is college basketball right now with, NIL and with the transfer portal.
Straight up
Coaches
salaries.
make a lot of money. Players make a lot of money. Everybody's a pro. Nobody's sweating out a chem final anymore, Wilbon. Nobody's caring about that. So if you want to get rid of this guy Tang, you got to pay him an $18.5 million buyout. It's probably cheaper to get rid of the players. Probably cheap.
Tony, here's the deal. And look, you understand the frustration of any coach at any level. And the tough thing now, Tone, is coaches rationally can go back into their meeting, slam the door with their staff and say, these kids are getting paid. Maybe not as much as James Harden and Luka, but they're getting paid.
That's right.
And so there's going to be a
They're
certain
pros.
resentment, if you will. But Tony, you can't go that far. And if I was the athletic director, no. If I was the president of Kansas State University, and I do like when people wear the purple and call themselves Wildcats, but if I was the president of the university, I would call Coach Tang and I'd say, so you've got until the TV trucks get here at 5 o'clock for local news to get down in something purple in a logo and walk this back. That's how long you got. Because I will also terminate you for cause, and there may not be a buyout of $16 to $18 million. And I think he's probably a really good coach too, but you can't go this far. These are, and now I'm sounding like John Thompson. I'm stealing a phrase from the coach I probably admired most in my life, from Coach the dear late, great John Thompson, who would often say to me when I got ready to criticize somebody in the Washington Post, hey, these are somebody's children. They still are, whether they get a paycheck or not. So Tang has to remember that, or he might have to go.
This is his last quote, which I thought was the bomber quote. I have no answers and no words. Well, that's not true. You had words.
You had words.
You had very harsh words. And your job is to have answers. That's your job.
Yep.
You're the coach. We're paying you. Let's take a break. Coming up, Joey Porter goes after Ben Roethlisberger as a teammate. What's the word for that? Time for a little wordplay with Wilbon. What's first?
The criticisms that Joey Porter has of Ben Roethlisberger are blank.
My word is seismic. You do not hear this from teammate to teammate. I mean, Porter is a guy who was the captain of the team, right? He was the captain of the team at one point, and he was a Pro Bowl player at one and forced them to trade him to Cleveland. He will tell you that players can be cut, and that players, don't have any guarantees except the ones that have guarantees. But he has guarantees because he's a great player, and he makes $40 million a year. And he will tell you, that the NBA is a business. It is a business. And he uses his clout as a great player to destroy the business whenever he wants to. I'm sure he's very, very happy in Cleveland right now. What is it, 5:45? Let's see how he is at 8 o'clock.
And that's why, Tony, my word is justifying. That's all he's doing is justifying all the moves he has forced. And I, like you, wrote down Houston, Brooklyn, Philly, Los Angeles. I'm not counting Oklahoma City because he didn't force that. That was early in his career when he wasn't as great yet and he had no clout. But every stop since then, he has it. And if you ask James about these things, and he's very approachable and very affable to talk about a lot of things, he would just sort of look at you like, are you sure you know what you're talking about? And it's like, I'm sorry, these places actually exist. And by the way, I'm not even saying I blame him, but it is justifying.
I think he's a great player, but it's obvious what he does.
Yes.
That's the final word.
Yes.
Let's take one last break. Happy time, people. Happy 63rd birthday, Brent Jones. Jones was the 49ers tight end during their glory years of Joe Montana and Steve Young. He went to 4 Pro Bowls, won 3 Super Bowls. While he was not as accomplished as Jerry Rice, when Jones retired in 2000, he had caught more passes for more yards and more touchdowns than any other 49ers tight end ever. Jones played all of his football in the Bay Area, having gone to Santa Clara, which no longer has a football team, and playing 11 seasons with the 49ers. Jones played in 143 games with the 49ers. He won 110. Jones's two daughters were D1 soccer players, and Courtney was on 2 NCAA champions at North Carolina.
If you went up and down the rosters, Tony, of those great Niners teams, the great Patriots teams, the great Steelers teams, the great Cowboys teams, I would say that the Niners had more individually great players. We don't even talk about Brent Jones. It was great, like you just outlined. I think the Niners, apologies to the others, but that's the way I'd be going.
I might go Steelers. I might.
I can understand
Happy
that.
anniversary, Jordan Spieth. On this day 9 years ago, Spieth won the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. With this win, Spieth became just the second man, along with Tiger Woods, to win 9 times on the PGA Tour before the age of 24 since World War II. Later in 2017, Spieth won the British Open for his 3rd major, and at that point, comparisons to Tiger Woods seemed reasonable. But since that British Open, Spieth has only won twice: the Valero Texas Open in his home state in 2021, and the RBC Heritage in 2022. Now, Spieth had a T3 and a T4 at the Masters and a runner-up at the British, but he was number 1 in the world for 26 weeks at his apex, and now he's 89th.
Tony, as great as Spieth was during that run, it was always too soon to invoke the name Tiger Woods. And you know, I go crazy about this even with Scottie Scheffler. Scheffler's been better longer, but it's still too soon to start mentioning Tiger Woods. It makes me crazy, and yet, you know, people will do it anyway.
Well, wait till they ask you about Chris Gotterup and Tiger Woods next week. Happy trails, Nick Castellanos. The Phillies are releasing the outfielder with 1 year left on his deal after failing to find a trade partner. Philly hadn't even bothered to invite Castellanos to spring training after his production fell last season. At one point, he got benched for making an inappropriate remark toward manager Rob Thompson. It came after Castellanos had been pulled from the game for defensive purposes, and while he was holding a beer in the dugout during play. The Phillies signed Adolis Garcia in the offseason to replace the 33-year-old in right. Wilbon, something tells me you can suggest a landing spot for Castellanos.
He's got some pop in that bat still, and he knows his way around right field in the Ivy and Wrigley because he's been there before, Tony. So I'm just saying, as the unofficial sort of an analyst of the Cubs roster, we need a little bite. We need some dog in that roster. I nominate Castellanos.
Let's go to the big finish. Jeremy Sochan joined the Knicks after being released by the Spurs. Is that a big ad?
It could be. He asked for his release. They gave it to him. The Spurs are loaded. I'm very curious. North Carolina says Caleb Wilson, not Williams, Caleb Wilson is out indefinitely with a fractured hand. Is that a big deal?
It is. He's nearly 20-10 in college.
Yeah,
that is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Orioles second baseman Jackson Holliday will have hamate bone surgery and miss the season opener. What do you make of this?
Every single person has this injury now. This is insane. I hope that's not what Caleb Wilson has. Serena Williams has been cleared to return to play by a tennis anti-doping agency. You think she will?
I do. I think she'll play occasionally like her sister Venus does. Maybe they'll even play doubles together. I think it's possible. Last one. Suns forward Dylan Brooks got an automatic 1-game suspension after earning his 16th tech last night. Your thoughts?
There'll be more suspensions coming. He can't help himself. But he's had one hell of a season for the surprising Suns.
Don't you find him annoying, though?
Yeah.
Don't you find him annoying?
All
We're
the
out of time. Try to do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
And I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads. And now, your sports.
However, the Spurs are not among the favorites to win the title, according to DraftKings Sportsbook, as they're the first team off this list. A pair of Western Conference teams lead the way with the Thunder and the Nuggets, while the 4 Eastern Conference teams trail behind. Now, Tony and Mike have more in tonight's PTI bonus topic.
All right, Wilbon, what's the most surprising storyline from the NBA's first half?
Tony, everything I know about covering the NBA for 40-plus years tells me you don't fall in love with super young teams, no matter how talented. Old people win in the NBA. Now, OKC sort of turned that. And now I'm allowing myself to believe it's going to be turned some more because my most surprising team answer is the San Antonio Spurs. Tony, they've beaten OKC, the champs, 4 times already this season, trailed them by only 3.5 games in the standings. And the group The ensemble of Wembanyama, Castle, Fox, Harper, they are tremendous together, even though they all add up to like less than our age, either one of us. Keldon Johnson and Vassell coming in reserve roles are terrific, whether starting or in reserve. And then Olynyk and Kornet give you size and depth in case Wembanyama gets in foul trouble. They seem to have everything, and they're 9 years old.
Yeah.
And it's too early, Tony. I know it is, but I've fallen in love with them. Staying with them.
Okay, that's fine. I don't want to surprise you with my answer, so I'm going to stick to the I-95 corridor. My answer is the Boston Celtics, because their best player, Jason Tatum, has a torn Achilles. And was supposedly, though there's murmurings that he might actually be able to come back by the playoffs, but he supposedly is out for the entire season. Their record right now is 35-19. That's second best in the East. You know, and Jaylen Brown has played like an MVP candidate.
Yes, he has.
A comparable team, the Indiana Pacers, who were in the NBA Finals last year, if I recall correctly, they lost their best player, and their record is 15-40, and they're next to last. And that's what I assumed would happen with the Celtics. So everybody in the Boston organization, people should stand up and applaud for them, from players to coaches to general manager to everybody there, because that is shocking to me that they could be this good.
How about a double surprise we can take credit for later? If San Antonio and the Celtics meet each other in the NBA Finals, that
I would take the under on that right now, but you know, maybe later. I would take the under on that. Yeah.
That's it. We're done. Back to you.
Thanks, guys. To MLB, owners are meeting in Florida, and the elephant in the room is a salary cap. The collective bargaining agreement ends after this season, and owners want a cap. The players' union does not. The threat of a work stoppage in 2027 is real. Earlier today, Commissioner Rob Manfred was asked about a timeline for negotiations. Take a listen.
The only projection I can make to you, because we haven't agreed on a calendar with the MLB,